Baik, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning ladies and gentlemen. Selamat pagi. Ya, selamat pagi Bapak dan Ibu. Baik, terima kasih banyak. The honorable keynote speakers of today's agenda, Professor Irfan Dwidya Priyambada, M. Engineering, PhD, Professor of Biotechnology at Gajah Mada University. The Honorable Vice Rector of Students Affairs, University of Muhammadiyah Malang, Dr. Nur Subeki MT. The Honorable Director of Community Service or DPPM, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, Profesor Latipun PhD. Our speakers, Professor Gautam from Jawaharlal Nehru University, Professor Wan Juli from National Sun Yat-sen University, Taiwan, Professor F. Jenny Styrin, Head of International Laboratory for Digital Transformation in Public Administration, HSE University, Moscow, Professor Bup Mojung from Pukyang National University, South Korea, and all of the participants and audiences, both online and offline. Thank you so much for being here, and let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the International Conference on Community Service Program by the team Community Empowerment for Sustainable Development Goals held by Community Service University of Muhammadiyah Malang. Ladies and gentlemen, the first agenda is reciting Holy Quran. Mr. Sofyan, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ذلكم الله ربكم لا إله إلا هو خالق كل شيء فاعبدوه وهو على كل شيء وكيل لا تدركه الأبصار وهو يدرك الأبصار وهو اللطيف الخبير قد جاءكم بصائر من ربكم فمن أبصر فلنفسه ومن عمي فعليها وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ وما أنا عليكم بحفيظ صدق الله العظيم. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Sofyan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now we would like to ask you to stand up and sing Indonesia Raya National Anthem and Muhammadiyah Anthem Sang Surya. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand up. Indonesia Raya National Anthem. Muhammadiyah Anthem Sang Surya.
Sang Surya tetap bersinar, syahadat dua melingkar, warna yang hijau berseri membuatku rela hati. Ya Allah, Tuhan Rabbiku, Muhammad junjunganku, Al-Islam agamaku, Muhammadiyah gerakanku. Di timur fajar cerah gemerlapan mengusir kabut hitam, menggugah kaum muslimin tinggalkan peraduan. Lihatlah matahari telah tinggi di ufuk timur sana, seruan ilahi Rabbi samina wa atona. Ya Allah, Tuhan Rabbiku, junjunganku, Al-Islam agamaku, Muhammadiyah gerakanku.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now let's listen carefully to the welcoming speech from the Director of DPPM or Research and Community Service, Professor Latipun PhD. We invite you to give the speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Wassalam ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajmain, amma ba'du. Yang terhormat Ibu Direktur Kemendikbudristek yang mengikuti secara daring, ya, Ibu Dr. Sri Suning Kusumawardani, MT. Yang terhormat Bapak Wakil Rektor 3 Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, Dr. Nur Subeki, MT. Yang terhormat Bapak Profesor Dr. Irfan Dwija Priyambada sebagai keynote speaker pada kesempatan konferensi ini. Honorable all speaker of the conference, Prof. Gustam, Prof. Wan Juli, Prof. Bob Chung, dia para yang terhormat juga Wakil Direktur dan Kepala Divisi di lingkungan Direktorat Penelitian dan Pengabdian Masyarakat UMM, serta seluruh partisipan of the International Conference for Community Services Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. Alhamdulillah pada kesempatan ini kita bisa bersama-sama mengikuti konferensi International Conference for Community Services Program tahun 2023. Ini sebagai program awal yang kami selenggarakan untuk presentasi, diseminasi hasil-hasil pengabdian masyarakat. Nanti kita kembangkan untuk kegiatan berikutnya. Program ini didesain agak pendek, kira-kira 2 bulanan. Tetapi alhamdulillah pada kesempatan ini bisa kita selenggarakan sesuai dengan yang dirancang. Karena itu kami mengucapkan terima kasih pada para inisiator dan pelaksana penyelenggaraan konferensi ini. Kemudian yang kedua, sebagaimana yang tadi saya sampaikan bahwa konferensi ini adalah effort kita untuk diseminasi di kalangan sesama pengabdi, academicians, dan nanti kita perluas dalam masyarakat yang lebih jangkauannya lebih banyak. Mudah-mudahan kita nanti bisa sharing pengalaman di dalam menjalankan program-program pengabdian masyarakat. Kemudian bisa ditingkatkan pemanfaatannya, termasuk dalam hal mengembangkan program-program kerjasama di bidang pengabdian masyarakat dalam kerangka memberi manfaat yang lebih luas ke dalam pemanfaatannya kepada masyarakat, peningkatan kesejahteraan dan sebagainya. Dalam konferensi ini lebih dari 50 peserta yang partisipasi dalam seminar ini. Mudah-mudahan nanti setiap peserta ini justru bisa mengembangkan kerjasama-kerjasama, jadi tidak sekedar berhenti di presentasi, tapi justru nanti kita coba mewujudkan inovasi-inovasi yang lebih bermakna bagi masyarakat kita. Tadi saya mendapatkan banyak informasi dari Prof. Irfan bahwa pengabdian masyarakat itu kalau di Indonesia ini sangat diperlukan karena begitu rentang kesejahteraan itu sangat berbeda ya antara yang di kota dengan desa, antara Jawa dengan pulau luar Jawa dan sebagainya. Karena itu program-program pengabdian masyarakat ini adalah jembatan bagi kita untuk mengurangi gap yang ada di dalam masyarakat. Kemudian untuk konferensi lebih lanjut, kita berharap bahwa International Conference for Community Services Program ini menjadi annual yang bisa kita jalankan mulai tahun ini sampai yang akan datang. Dengan begitu, diseminasi program-program yang sudah kita jalankan berdasarkan riset dan pengalaman menjadi lebih kuat. Pada kesempatan ini, kami mengucapkan sekali lagi terima kasih kepada Ibu Dr. Sri Suning Kusmawardani yang menyempatkan waktu untuk memberi arahan tentang konferensi ini. Dan nanti tentu saja kita perlu menyimak kira-kira poin-poin kebijakan yang bisa kita kembangkan di kampus kita masing-masing. For all speaker, we would like to thank your time and opportunities to discuss with our participants, especially for Prof. Gustam, Prof. Van Juli, Prof. Bob Mojung, who have time for discuss for together in this forum. Saya kira demikian apa yang kami sampaikan pada kesempatan ini. Kurang dan lebihnya mohon maaf. Saya kira acara ini nanti berakhir sampai sore. Mudah-mudahan kita akan mendapatkan banyak kesempatan untuk saling menimba satu sama lain. Saya kira demikian yang bisa saya sampaikan. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof. Latipun, for the speech. The next speech will be delivered by Vice Rector of Student Affairs University of Muhammadiyah, Malang, Dr. Nur Subeki. We invite you to give the speech and open this conference.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah, asyhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh, la nabiyya ba'dah, amma ba'd. Yang saya hormati Honorable for Ibu Profesor Dr. Sri Suning Kusumawardani, MT, Director for Education Student yang baru. Ini selamat datang di dunia Belmawa dan kemahasiswaan. Sambil memperkenalkan Bu, saya juga termasuk Sekretaris Jenderal di Forum Komunikasi Kemahasiswaan seluruh Indonesia. Sehingga nanti bisa sama-sama, karena Bu Suning ini masih baru dilantik. Yang saya hormati Bapak Profesor Dr. Irfan Dwijo Priambodo yang hadir pada kesempatan ini. Yang saya hormati Bapak Direktur DP2M, Bapak Profesor Dr. Latipun. Yang saya hormati Bapak Ibu pimpinan di DP2M, ini ada beberapa yang hadir, ya. Kemudian yang honorable for all of speaker, dan yang saya hormati semua peserta conference serta panitia yang berbahagia. Tentu pertama mari kita bersama-sama memanjatkan puji syukur kehadirat Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, Allah Subhanahu wa taala, yang mana pada pagi hari ini kita semua diberi kesehatan. Yang pertama tentu kami ucapkan selamat bahwa kegiatan ini yaitu Community Empowerment for Sustainable Development Goal adalah bagian dari tentu hasil-hasil riset. Nah, beberapa hal yang kita ikuti di macam-macam university, harapannya manakala standar di universitas adalah memperbanyak guru besar, maka implementasinya adalah bagaimana hasil-hasil dari kualitas riset itu mampu digunakan untuk pengabdian masyarakat. Nah, ini yang kemudian di University of Muhammadiyah Malang bagian dari program di mana para profesor diharapkan terjun ke masyarakat melalui program Profesor Membangun Desa. Nah, inilah yang nanti untuk bersama-sama bahwa goalnya adalah keberlanjutan riset-riset yang berkualitas untuk digunakan bagian dari pengabdian masyarakat. Yang kedua, dalam rangka untuk mengantisipasi perkembangan dunia yang begitu cepat, perubahan-perubahan zaman, termasuk di ekosistem yang sekarang ini perubahan fenomena alam, terjadinya kenaikan sea level, yang akibatnya banyak pulau-pulau di Indonesia itu ada sebagian yang agak tenggelam. Contoh di Semarang itu adalah ketika banjir rob itu banyak bagian termasuk jalan, industri di pesisir, rumah-rumah sudah mulai hilang. Nah, ini harapan semuanya adalah harus bagaimana penelitian yang dihasilkan itu mampu dimanfaatkan untuk masyarakat luas. Di antaranya adalah mempertimbangkan keberlanjutan dari lingkungan dan industri yang akan datang, termasuk adalah komunitinya. Jadi unsur kemanusiaannya, ini yang menjadikan penting. Sehingga dengan kegiatan-kegiatan seminar seperti ini, harapan kita, karena ini juga akan menjadi annual seminar, berarti kan dilaksanakan setiap tahun, tentu kami yang ada di Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang dalam hal ini adalah penyelenggaranya DP2M, sangat support dan selalu hal-hal kegiatan ini perlu terjadi diseminasi, jadi ada perluasan pengetahuan tentang hal-hal seperti ini. Yang ketiga tentu sebagai generasi yang akan menuju ke Indonesia Emas tahun 2045, maka beberapa hal temuan-temuan yang diberikan kepada masyarakat tentu digunakan untuk sepenuhnya pengembangan dari baik perekonomian maupun stabilitas masyarakat yang ada di Indonesia. Ini yang saya kira penting bagi kita semua dan untuk mempersiapkan kalau di kita Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang melalui beberapa program itu adalah untuk melihat bagaimana potensi kegiatan-kegiatan ke depan. Jadi bagaimana mempersiapkan generasi bisa terserap di dalam kehidupan ekosistem ke depan. Jadi the future of work. Ini yang menjadikan semua harus bekerja keras, semua harus mencari solusi-solusi. Dengan seminar ini harapan kita tentu banyak hal yang bisa dikerjakan dan bisa diimplementasikan di masyarakat. Demikian yang bisa saya sampaikan, kurang lebihnya mohon maaf. Saya akhiri, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh ya, membuka. Oke. Terima kasih dan dengan memohon ridho Allah Subhanahu wa taala, Tuhan Yang Maha Esa, maka seminar dengan tema Community Empowerment for Sustainable Development Goal dengan bacaan Bismillahirrahmanirrahim secara resmi saya nyatakan dibuka.
Terima kasih Pak Eki, thank you for opening this conference. And now ladies and gentlemen, we will go to the next section. This is the presentation from our keynote speaker, Professor Irfan is a professor of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Gadjah Mada. He is very active in publishing articles in various reputable journals and has a lot of experience in seminars, symposium, and so on. So without any further ado, Professor Irfan Dwidya Priyambada, M. Engineering, PhD, time is yours.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. First, I would like to address to Ibu Dr. Sri Suning Kusumawardhani, STMT, the Director for Direktur Pembelajaran dan Kemahasiswaan, Direktorat Jenderal Pendidikan Tinggi, Kementerian Pendidikan dan Kebudayaan, Riset dan Teknologi, and to Dr. Nur Subeki, MT, Vice Rector from Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, Professor Dr. Latipun, the Director for Directorate for Research and Community Services, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, colleges, speakers, Professor Gautam, Professor Wanjuli, Professor Evgeny Starin, and Professor Bukmo Jung, colleges from the Committee for Community Services, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang, and last but not least, colleges attendees of the seminar. I would like to share with you my experience during 10 years of managing community services at Universitas Gadjah Mada. I'm very sorry that the background are Universitas Gadjah Mada, because this one prepared for a long time ago when I was also in the Directorate for Community Services. I would like to share with you community empowerment for sustainable development goals that done by my colleges and students at Universitas Gadjah Mada. Next slide, please. This is result of the oldest community services done by students of Gadjah Mada University that started in 1951, just 2 years after the establishment of Universitas Gadjah Mada. The students saw that the problem of this nation is education, because a high school is only exists in Jawa, while there is a gap between Jawa and regions outside Jawa. So 1,218 students involved a voluntary 2-year service to establish schools outside Jawa. And during 11 years of this, what we call pengerahan tenaga mahasiswa, 109 secondary schools were established across the country. The eastern part was in Ambon and Rotendao. Next slide, please. So from that come 3 pillars of education, higher education, which is learning and teaching, research, what we call Tridharma, research and community services. All other universities in the world only know the 2 words, learning and teaching and research. The third one, community service, exists only at the time at Universitas Gadjah Mada. Next slide. Next slide, please. And so, start for 1959, LPPM. So, the Institute for Community Services was established in Universitas Gadjah Mada with the duty of bridging the university in its surrounding community disseminating science and technology for the improvement of community welfare, and developing student awareness toward problems faced by their surrounding community. Next slide. So this is the bridging the surrounding community. When we see that farmers in Dieng, for example, facing the problem of devastating nematode, yellow cyst nematode, then we bring this fact into the laboratory, and I think he is also my student coming from UMM, and researcher at UGM studied this parasitic fungi destroying the yellow cyst nematode. Next slide. The result then bring to the community, teach them how to overcome the problem, not only in room but also outside, so directly on the field. We teach them. Next slide. And we bring also students that to make them able to see, to have an empathy toward the problem of their surrounding community. So this is what we call then KKN, Student Service Learning. Next slide. But the relationship between the second and third pillar, the research and community service. So research is a part to collect knowledge and technology. Other source of knowledge and technology may come from reading books, articles in the journals, periodics. Then we have knowledge and technology. The result of our own research then disseminate, communicate to other scientists through publication. They give a high score for this, for all the lecturer. But other, with industries, there is a consultation that we haven't give enough score for that. Policymaker, we have advocation, and community, we have a service. Those three haven't been, it's overlooked people, the government overlooked this one. Next slide. So now we have to improve the community service by research-based community services, which is utilizing all resources and capacities of university, knowledge, research, education, skill of faculty, skill of staff, skill of student for community empowerment so that they can meet their need and develop their potential through partnership. Next slide. So we bring that one together with KKN. Every year in Universitas Gadjah Mada, we have to manage 7,000 to 8,000 students, and we send them, next slide, all across the country. Then in a group of 30 students, and every group should consist of students from different faculty. It should be at least 3. So physical infrastructure, students from Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Science are in the cluster of physical structure, socio-economic culture, Faculty of Social Sciences, Faculty of Law, Faculty of Literature and Culture, etc. Faculty of Community, for Community Health, a cluster of Community Health, come from Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Pharmacy, Dentistry, and agricultural-related field, which come from Faculty of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry, Forestry, Fishery, on agricultural technology also. Next slide. So students should stay in the community for 2 months. I think UMM also have done the same thing. The students should solve the real problem existing in the community, and student community service learning should consider 3 major elements: individual improvement, institutional improvement, and community itself, the improvement of community itself, and the program function as media for transfer of knowledge and transferring knowledge, skill, and creativity. And the program should run on the base of co-creation. Students have no money, I think. University also could not support fully. So we only support with knowledge, and all other resources should come from also other resources. Next slide. So this is community service learning. Is in the middle of three activities: teaching and learning, research, as well as community service learning. So we have community service learning is in the middle of those three activities. Next slide. We send our students of Universitas Gadjah Mada all across the country in 34 provinces, from Aceh in Pulau Nasi up to Kirong in the border with Papua New Guinea, Miangas in the border with the Philippines, and also to Moa, which is bordering Indonesia, Timor-Leste, and Australia. Next slide. So university have contribute with updated science and empathy, bring all the students as well as the supervisor to community to find the problem faced by the community, their needs and the potential, bring back it to university, we talk about solution, target, output, and then bring it back to the community. And then we will improve the community with new culture, new welfare, while donors come when they have a similar vision, similar program, but we need them for funding. Next slide. We could not come to a community within only 2 months because we are not Superman. And Jering says Superman is dead. So we have to come in for time to time. The first year, so year 0 I said, is inspiring finding. When some student or lecturer or me, myself, or team come to see something interesting in some community, in a certain community, then we start with first year. Send the student for 2 months. While other university, mostly for observation, they give you 1 week. No, observation within 2 months. 2 months the community observe what the problem, what is the potential, what the capability they have in the community. Bring it back to the university. We talk about problem that we can solve. And then second year, program and target determination together with the community. Once they agree, we start to execute that program within the year 3, 4, and 5. So 5 years, no more, because we do not want dependency. Next slide. So this I give some 2 or 3 examples because our time is limited. This is the problem of Giri-Cakso village in Gunung Kidul Regency. Before the slide, too fast, sorry. The problem of drought always exists every year. It's always put in the newspaper, Gunung Kidul kekeringan, drought in Gunung Kidul. People feel desperate with the drought until 2004 actually, when one group of students having a hobby of caving go into cave, found that underground of those villages exists underground river. Then harapan baru dari Gua Pelawan, a new hope for Pelawan Cave. Next slide. Reporting this one, next slide. Yep, in 2004, from a place that is not observable, they found a cave with diameter 2 meters in diameter, 107 meters below ground. They found a river, and we assigned them to check the water month by month. And we found that even in the dry season, there is still a lot of water flowing in this underground river. This is it became a thesis for student. Next slide. This is what MPKM, Independent Learning and Independent Campus, want to have it. So observation done, and it can be reported as a thesis or what we call for strata 1 as scriptsy. We can have a scriptsy from this. And then from there we can calculate how much or how powerful a pump needed to bring the water to the surface and then distribute to the people. Next slide. Also from the social sciences, how much water necessary for everybody in the village. Then we can calculate how many liters of water should be bring to the surface. Then once we calculate this one, it's feasible, then we start to have a project, underground work done by student. Why? Because me myself, I cannot stand when I go to the cave. Very dark, feel very stressed. So done by student. But next slide. Upper ground, on ground, done by the community. Next slide. The work done in 2 years, and then enterprises, the company help us with their CSR, corporate social responsibility. They support us by machine, the pumping machine, also by solar panel. Next slide. Well, government, local government support us with the reservoir, with the pipe. Perwira 2007 is a scriptsy describing this one. Next slide. So we bring the water from the river, underground river, with submerged pump to the ground, and from the ground pump again to the hill, and from the hill we can support Dusun Gabuk with 171 household, and then Dusun Wani 111 household, Dusun Karantengah 199 households, Dusun Curug, all are 1,000 household is supported by this system. Next slide. The problem is it's easy to construct those water supplying system. The most difficult is changing the behavior of those community. Because before they walk for 2 hours to get water, but for free. But now they have to pay for the maintenance. Most of those people do not want to pay. Before you came, we get the water for free, even though they have to walk for 2 hours. But now you came here, but we have to pay now. Fortunately, there's an accident. This is a blessed in disguise. One old lady burned their garbages above the pipe, and the pipe is melting, so the system is stopped. Then they come to again to LPPM, asking for assistance. Why it is stopped now? It is stopped, it's broken. But how? We cannot help you because you do not want to pay. What you pay is for maintenance. Then from there, they want to have a system for maintenance. And students from social sciences help them to establish the what we call that now is PAMDES system, pengelolaan air minum pedesaan. It is started from here, and now it is multiplied by other villages. Now we have around 15,000 PAMDES all across the country. Everybody happy at the time. Next slide. After 4 years, Next slide, please. Everybody happy. After 4 years. 2 years for the construction, but again another 2 years for changing the behavior, eagerness of those people. Next slide. Before, when we have a comparison, before the price of water is 26,000 per cubic meters, but now they have to pay only 6,000 rupiah per cubic meters. Basic need before are clean water. Now they said that I want to send my children and grandchildren to university to be able to solve our problem, because you're coming, solve our problem. And then water management individually, they buy it from the city, but now organized by system, and water supply now is consistently reliable. This is the first example. Next slide. I will give a second example. It also happened in Gunung Kidul. We change those dry places uninhabitable in 1961, became a plantation owned by people, owned by farmers owned plantation, cacao plantation. Now they complain, they produce a cacao bean, but they complain that the price of their cacao bean is too low. They want to improve, to increase the price. I was a commissary for a plantation. Then I called the director of my company, why the bean of people in Gunung Kidul are so low compared to other places. Yeah, because they are not fermented bean. So help them to improve by fermentation. But they do not want. Why? Because too complicated. Okay, let's start do a research. Next slide. So their problem, no flavor of the chocolate. It's only brown only, but no flavor of chocolate. Because no fermentation. Good fermentation could be obtained only 800 kilograms, while they only harvest 20 kilograms a day. I said that gathering 40 farmers will have 800 kilograms. No, our people sometimes is not what you can. They put the cocoa bean into water just to get more money because a lot of water, but it's failed for fermentation. So we have to solve the problem technically. Next slide. So I asked students to do research and then make that one research in the university, how to have a fermentation with only 20 kilograms of bean. Next slide. They succeed to have such kind of innovation, boxes for fermentation, and also drying facility with innovation from students. Bring that one to the people with KKN, with community student, community service learning. Next slide. And then teach the people how to process, to spin into a chocolate bar. Next slide. And this is the product of those communities that now sell well in Jakarta. Gun kit. It is not a kit with gun, not related at all. It is just abbreviation of Gunung Kidul. This FTP, UGM has put it there as an appreciation to us. Next slide. So I think what time for me is available? Is it okay for one more example? 5 minutes more, so one more example. This is an example at Seteluk, West Sumbawa. And I have to do monitoring and evaluation of students with KKN at Sumbawa. I come to a village which they call Seteluk in West Sumbawa. There I found more. I have a research, my own research is about mercury contamination in Candi Wonogiri. In Candi Wonogiri, In one village, only 10, and each artisanal miners have only one system. Yet, water in their well water already contaminated with mercury. But at Satelu, in one village, more than 30 miners, and every miners have more than 20 system, what they call it tong. So we can imagine how polluted the water there with mercury, which is very dangerous. And we found, next slide, at the first time when students come, they reject, no, we are not minors. No, we are not minors. One among the students are my own daughter. And every evening call me, Pa, they are not minors. What should we do? 2 months we have to stay here with nothing because they said they are not minors. They are minors. Just be patient. Bring them, play football with you, volleyball with you, together. So after 2 weeks, 2 weeks is necessary to be accepted by the local people. Then they said that, yes, we are miners. Do you want to see how we mine gold? After 2 weeks. Then we collect the sample, bring it home. Next slide. Then I asked, because at the time I'm not putting the data here, because the data is somehow is not good. Why it's not good? Because we found that during 2013, 14, and 15, in those villages, 33 babies born died. Above that, 18 babies have only 6 months life. They born without school, no bone here. So very dangerous. So I asked professors, young professors, doctors from Faculty of Engineering, Department of Chemical Engineering, to find how we can mine gold without using mercury. Next slide. So we found that using borax, we can collect gold better. And also no pollution when mercury is not used at all here. So tailing, non-mercury tailing. Next slide. They put that one also in the newspaper. And then we bring this technology to the people. Now, the people, they make the innovation using their own materials. Next slide. So, this is all the examples. Actually, it's not, this is only 3 among examples that we have. I hope this one also will give you more insight to what we can do as a university for our people. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Prof. Irfan. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you for sharing a lot of inspiring story with us. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the next section, we will go to the presentation from 2 speakers. And now I would like to invite our moderator of this section, Mr. Agus Aufia MA MPhil. We invite you to lead the stage.
two speakers. The first speaker will be Professor Wan Juli, as Assistant Professor from Department of Sociology, National Sun Yat-sen University. And the second one will be Professor Gautam Jayakumar from Jawaharlal Nehru University. So before we start, for the first speaker, namely Professor Wan Juli, let me read the short CV or curriculum detail of the speaker. Professor Wan Juli, education is the PhD from Sociology from Leicester University from United Kingdom, and her master degree in Sociology from National Taiwan University, and for the BA, it's from Sociology Department in the same university in National Taiwan University. And regarding her topic for today's conference, it will be the topic under the title of Everyday Democracy and Civil Agriculture, the case of CSAPWN. So before we start, I want to give some direction to our speaker. So each speaker will speak for 10 minutes, will be followed for endless question and answer session. So Professor Wan Juli, are you ready? Hello? Professor Wan Juli. So the first speaker once again will be Professor Wan Juli on the title of Everyday Democracy and Civic Agriculture, the case of CSAPWN. Am I audible? Professor Wan Juli? Okay, time is yours for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah. I've already shared my screen. Could you see my PowerPoint here?
Yes, we can see your PPT or your presentation. Okay, please. You can
Okay, I will start. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the introduction and hello everyone. And my name is Wang Wu from Taiwan, and I'm the assistant professor from the Department of Sociology and National Sun Yat-sen University. And it's my great pleasure to present to you my newly published research paper, Everyday Democracy and Civic Agriculture. And this paper is based on my maybe more than 2-year field work on a community supporting agriculture organization in Taiwan. I call it CSA Taiwan. Of course, it's the pseudonyms. So I will, because I just listened to the keynote speaker, I will talk less about agriculture, but more about the community governance practices. So firstly, I will show you what is CSA. Community supporting agriculture. These kind of organizations have been developing since the mid-1980s. And the kind of organization aim to create alternative agro-food networks based on partnerships between consumers and farmers as an alternative to conventional food networks, especially aiming to against mainstream market models. So usually they promote an idea of environmental, economic and social sustainability. So as you can see from the photos, how it works. It's an example how a CSA organization works. It's not like you go to markets, local markets or supermarkets and buy food you need. It's more like consumers, you as regular subscribers, and you pay in advance to get one vegetable or two vegetables once a week. And this represents the commitment to support economics, to support the farmers, and it's just the kind of working models is also basically how CSA Taiwan works as well. And why I became interested in CSA, I will show you briefly here. As you can see from the two photos, I have participated in practicing the democratic democracy in Taiwan nearly or maybe more than a decade. And 3 years ago, I had a chance to assist local communities in developing their own approaches to govern their own common resources. And how we did it is like the photos you can see. We invited members, including consumers, including farmers, to discuss possible ways of governing common resources within CSA Taiwan. So after conducting all these democratic meetings, I kind of got inspiration from the way how it works.
Sorry, Professor Waju, may I interrupt you? Sorry, your presentation here has zoomed in too much. Could you assess
I can't hear you very clearly. Could you bother, please?
Your presentation has zoomed too much. Zoom in too much.
Zoom in too much? You mean my presentation of me?
Oh, okay. Could anybody from here, from the committee, to make the zoom or the presentation to be a normal size?
Sorry, because your voice are not very clear. Also, someone else type.
Okay. Could you share again your PPT? Could you share your PPT again? Share screen your PPT again. Okay, you can on screen again for your PPT.
So you mean I share your screen?
Yeah. Please you can share screen again for your PPT. Before it was too much. Oh, okay. It's once again. It's too much zoom in.
Zoom in. How can I adjust it?
Okay. Okay.
Let me. Is it better now?
Okay. Wait. Let me check. Okay. No, it's okay. Okay. So you can continue.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry about this.
Okay.
Should I continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So I just introduced why I'm interested in this kind of organization and how it operates. After I conducting these kind of democratic meetings to help them to develop their own ways of developing their own common resources, I started thinking how they operate. Especially when I look at literature, US CSA organizations are usually identified as a model of solidarity economy or social economy. And on the other hand, they also identify it as a development of civic agriculture. And either from both of them, they all reveals a consensus that CSAs are entities characterized by economic democracy. And this led me to wonder how to identify the concept democracy. It's an idea we're really familiar with, but how to do it, how to be economic, democratic organization. So I started thinking about the questions how CSL organizations operate, especially a lot of literature emphasize it should be democratically operated. And I found that how CSL organizations operate democratically is an underdeveloped issue in previous research. So in my research, I take CSL Taiwan as a case to illustrate how members have learned to practice democracy based on deliberation and communication. And my analytical framework is inspired by literature of civil agriculture, of course, and the other part of the literature is participatory democracy and deliberative democracy. I will just briefly show you some of them. And first of all is civil agriculture and democracy. And one of the most crucial, or you can say, nomadic mission of civil agriculture is they emphasize to cultivate democratic communities. So researchers emphasize that small-scale farmers should be organized in a democratic way so that they could become a learning group, they could share knowledge, they could build a solid social relationship to sustain the supply and demand system. So in this sense, you can see quite a lot of research arguing that participating in civil agriculture will help develop members' social capital or to enhance their democratic skills. But in other ways, there has been a recent shift. If you look at the literature, there has been a shift in the literature's focus towards exploring how CSAs establish a really long-lasting civic relationships and take it as the foundation for community democratic capacity to influence, to design their own shared future. So in this band, I kind of borrow the idea of deep democracy, and this idea is proposed by David McVer and James Hale, and they emphasize that deep democracy to show that it is everyday relationships and practices of ordinary people forms the health of democracy, is its foundation. Of course, they identify deep democracy in 3 different levels, but I will skip this. And the concept of deep democracy actually aligns with theories of participatory democracy and aligns with some aspects of the literature on deliberative democracy. And this set of literature emphasizes that democracy is culturally learned and practiced in everyday life. Especially, it's not about just one-off meeting. It's about you really in your social settings in civil life, and where these are where daily practices of democracy take place. And it's not about you have to rationally deliberation. Everyday talk should be less rational and more rhetoric, and you can express your emotions. So based on the literature above, I in my research, I developed a concept called everyday democracy. And I want to kind of emphasize more on the enduring civil relationships. And it could be formed from daily participation in various activities in daily life. Okay, do I start? Or should I continue? I heard some echo. Okay. So I identified democracy in three aspects. Hopefully, I advocate democracy is not political institutions, but a specific social relationships. That means democracy is cultural practices.
Okay, next please, Professor Wanju, you still have 8 minutes for your speech or presentation.
So I will have left.
Please go ahead. Yeah, you still have 7 minutes.
Okay. So I use the everyday democracy to explore how the farmers have been living and practicing democracy. And I just introduced you about States of Taiwan. It is initiated and organized by multiple farmers. And it's initiated in 2016, and right now there are 8 small farms located around southwest Taiwan. And the farmers made a conscious choice to come together as a community instead of competing individually in the mainstream market. So, in the first 3 years of their operation, they faced many challenges, including insufficient manpower, including a lack of mechanisms for regular communication. So, in order to revitalize their organization, they initiated several communication mechanisms. As you can see here, including consensus meetings, farmers meetings, and after some there are some daily informal conversations as well. So in my presentation, I will show you these kind of crucial reforms that kind of supports the everyday democracy of states in Taiwan. So I will skip this, so I heard that I only have 2 minutes left. So I start from meetings. I keep constantly hear about the echoes. Consensus meetings is the first meeting they try to solve their organizational problems. So the first one is started in 2020, and farmers held this meeting to figure out what's the organization. So they started from the 2 questions: what is your most important values that you insist on, and what do you think you should work more to realize your ideas? So you can see from the interview quotes, the farmers say, we rarely communicate in the past, and we did not think about these questions before. So only then, at these consensus meetings, we had the chance to look back and look forward to discuss whether we still have the same ideas about this organization. So you can see these 2 posters are their conclusion for the first consensus meetings. They discuss the most important values of states of Taiwan, and they identify the main problems of the organization, and they keep going on. Okay. And consensus meetings have another aim is to enhance mutual understandings. And you can see from this, it's a map of emotions. In the second consensus meeting in 2021, the facilitator Tara asked the farmers to draw lines, to show their emotional ups and downs, and since they first joined States of Taiwan, and explain why. And this emotion mapping activity was a tool to encourage farmers to express their emotion very honest to each other, and to show the effects that making them feel closer together. So, okay. So you can see the interview quotes here. They say, the Tara facilitator allow everyone to say what's in their mind frankly and sincerely. And they say, by doing this, we can work together and there's no conflict. And another interview quote is that because of their shared general feelings about each other, so these founders just share with me, she suddenly understood her behavior was selfish, arrogant, and she apologized on the spot. And the consensus meeting, we could identify it as a kind of open conversation and could be seen as an ideal speech situation in which people are really to communicate and they could genuinely share feelings and emotions, which enact a true relationship as a key for their daily communication. I just finished this year's consensus meeting last Saturday, and I found that the effects of consensus meetings really doing this, enhancing mutual understandings. And the second one is about farmers' meeting, and this was introduced in 2020 as one of the conclusions of the first consensus meeting, and it's monthly held. And I want to share with you that most people here, you might not really understand. It might hard to imagine for everyone here because we are good at having meetings. But for the farmers, at first, initially, they did not know how to organize a meeting. So you can see from the interview quotes. Before that, we did not have chairpersons, we did not make conclusions, and after being told that we have begun to take turns being the chairperson and make records.
Okay,
it's not easy for every farmer because some farmers are, their age are over 60s and or 70s, and some farmers they will think I don't know how to use computer, so people make it simple. So the farmers try to make it simple and can use any poster, any papers, just write down the conclusions and just take photos and post. And they try to have a rotation order. So if you don't know how to host the meeting, and you can be the later order, and you had a chance to see how other people do, and everybody helps. You can see others remind each other. This is the conclusion, and we could write it down. So I will show you here. This is the example of their meeting minutes. And other farmers' meetings aims is to ensure their actions align with their core values, especially they have common values to make them together. But I think I don't have time to explain more details here, so I will skip this and go to my following presentation. So based on the daily practices of communication I just shared with you, I argued that there are two kinds of logic revealed from its everyday democracy. And the first logic of its everyday democracy is collective decision making. And the logic is based on everyone's voice counts. And this has been formed through a process of learning and practicing, especially the farmers learn from the other facilitators of the consensus meeting, and Tara as the facilitator convey an important spirit that everyone's voice has to be heard as long as they are involved in this discussion. So they try to practice this. So I will show you another example. Here is in one of the meetings, they are discussing the recruitment policy. And after one farmer, Wendy, say something, and another farmer immediately tried to explain to her as if Wendy misunderstood the issue. So AOC said, no, this is not the case. We mean blah, blah, blah. And the other farmers just reminded AOC immediately, said, no, we should say this is not the case. That's what Wendy meant. That's her opinion. And AOC just apologized, and I thought she did not understand. So I set this as an example to show you the way how farmers practices the logic everyone always comes. Of course, it got some challenges, especially farmers would withhold their opinions and they will think of whether I could solve the problems, and then I will decide whether I will raise it to the meetings or not. So, of course, there are some ways to solve this challenge. For example, like truthful communication, consensus meetings, or daily informal conversations and carrying work in private, as mentioned above. And I argued that these really helped address the issues of members to feel hesitant to express their opinions in formal settings. Especially in last Saturday, the consensus meeting, we just discussed how to improve the problem of passive communications. And the second logic of everyday democracy is equality, that really emphasizes no leaders and everyone works together. So you can see from interview codes, they say, oh, we are all equal, and we don't feel who is at the top or who is at the bottom. We just want the group to be good. But, sorry, because I can't really just full screen of my PowerPoint. So, and this kind of equality actually is negotiable because they really want to respect for the difference of different farmers. So you can see from the Kyle's interview quotes here, he said that at first I didn't care what happened to you and what situation was, but afterwards he started realizing that equality is not necessarily fair because everyone's life is different. Because, for example, like the delivery of vegetable boxes is a matter that cannot be fairly rotated. Some people only have a scooter, they can participate in the organization in other ways. And there are some dilemma of equality of this logic, especially they spend a lot of time in communication. And because there are no leaders to make things forward, so results in the slow progress of the operation. But in my interview with all the farmers, no, they don't really looking forward. They look forward to a strong leader, and they express me they kind of hope to learn and practice to take turns to be coordinators of specific organization matters. So you can see farmers express it that CC Taiwan will not be CC Taiwan if it was ruled by a strong leader. So, okay, here's my conclusion. During my analysis about maybe a little bit briefly, I have achieved 3 key conclusions. Firstly, I argued that from the case of CC Taiwan, it explains how democracy has to be learned and practiced in their daily interaction, especially the developed logic as their organizational culture in terms of equality and collective decision making. And second, I argued that organizations such as CC Taiwan, they really operate based on relationships and common values. And this kind of organizations has to be develop their own democratic mechanisms They need to ensure consistency of their actions and values, and which can be achieved through formal and informal conversations. And the third one, it's not, I didn't say much in today's presentation, but I argue that the informal caring work within CSA Taiwan is very important because it facilitates the exchange of diverse opinions or conflicts or emotions, which helps to address conflicts and problems. And yeah, thank you for your attention. Talking about all the problems, because I have another workshop scheduled later, so I won't be able to participate in the session. So if any of you have any questions or good comments for my research, please feel free to email me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to Professor Manju. Please give applause to her for the presentation. Very nice presentation. So the presentation is regarding the community support agriculture. It's basically like how the farmers, they build the communication among them in Taiwan, in the context of Taiwan, and how they deliver the aspiration within the democratic sphere to solve the problem within the community. So now we open for Q&A session. So any question from the participant here, online or to offline, regarding the community service or community support agriculture in the context of Taiwan. Any question from the participant? Okay, okay, please. One in the back side. Okay. How to read about it more in online? Okay, please wait.
Okay. Thank you very much. It was so interesting for me. I just would like to know, is there any link, like in the internet, can we read more about it online?
Okay. What's your name, sorry?
Farzaneh from Iran.
Okay, Farzana from Iran. So, Professor Manzu, one question from Farzana from Iran, our student in UMM. Is there any link or internet source in detail to describe or to give more explanation regarding this program? Do you have any link you can pass in the Zoom chat, and I will pass to the participant here. Do you have any link or internet sources?
Oh, you mean my research paper?
No, regarding the program, whether it's from the government internet resource or others.
I'm really sorry about that because I can't really hear.
Once again, do you have any source, link source or internet source to read more regarding this program or this information?
Or maybe I could provide a link later to the committee and
Okay.
to the lady later.
Okay, later you can. Okay, later you can provide. Okay.
Your voice is clear now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, I will pass to the participant who asked the question. Thank you very much. So, any more question from the participant here, online or offline, for the first speaker? Okay. If there is no question, hopefully the first presentation will give you more insight and inspiration how to do the social service, especially in the context of Taiwan. Once again, please give applause to Professor Wanju. Thank you very much. Okay, the next speaker will be from India, Professor Gautam Kumarja. Let me read the short CV from Professor Gautamja. He is MPhil and PhD in International Relations and currently as the Assistant Professor in Bahasa Indonesia in the Center for Chinese and Southeast Asia Studies in the School of Languages, Literature and Culture Studies in Jawaharlal Nehru University. And Professor Gautam, many times visit Indonesia and most probably will speak either in Bahasa Indonesia or in English. So, Professor Gautam, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready, Pak. Thank you.
Okay, so the title of Dr. or Professor Gautam presentation will be on Bahasa. I got here. It's about pemberdayaan masyarakat dan pembangunan berkelanjutan in the context of India, I think, yeah. Okay, so please you can go ahead for your presentation in the next 20 minutes. Time is yours.
Thank you, Pak Agus is also an alumna of my university, the Malang University. So very great to interact with him and see him again. And can I see my PPT? I had sent the PPT yesterday, Kemarin saya sudah kirimkan PPT saya.
Belum terlihat PPT-nya. Could you share?
Nanti saya membagikan dari sini. Should I share my screen or?
Belum terlihat. Still not appear for your presentation.
Okay, then let me share it from myself.
Okay, so you can share. Oh yeah. Okay.
First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer, Professor Abina Salviana, with whom we have great affiliation with Jenny, and we have done a lot of projects together on gender issues, community issues, women empowerment, a lot of things. I think this is one of the series of our efforts, and two speakers, Professor Latiful, whom just I heard, and the next speaker, Mrs. Lee. Both of them I have, I'm equally inspired, and first speaker, he was basically, giving the various aspects how to empower the community, and that was truly very inspiring for me also. And the second speaker, he was trying to make us understand what is the value of consensus among the community, the value of importance of individuals' voice in the community, and that is basically part of the represent today. Bagaimana kita bisa ya masyarakat kita bisa memberikan definisi sebagai dua cara. Pertama, people who live in a particular area, orang-orang yang tinggal di daerah yang khusus. Ya. Nah, second is orang-orang yang punya profesi yang sama, ya, seperti students community, ya, kita sama-sama, women community, particular place where orang tua, yang menjadi people are women, teaching community. Now, the community has different identity. But community we cannot a particular place, for example, school, whether it is one school. But if we take number of particular noun, then put those noun into command. For example, dalam satu lembar, seperti sekolah, ada banyak bahasa. Maybe ada mahasiswa yang suka main sports, so kita bisa melakukan sports community. Ada orang-orang yang bekerja sebagai ini bersih apa, we can say cleaning community. So in what society yang one society Now, what is the unity of one society represents one unity, maybe unique community, a community seperti pottery community, fishing community, orang-orang yang ikan. Dan bisa berkomunikasi komunikasi antar. Dan setiap komunitas mempunyai dan hipotesis saya dari sini kita harus lebih pada level micro. Dan kalau kita bisa mengerti micro level of the community and the local kita bisa merancangkan SME, small industry, or empowering the community to make bagi itu bisa kita memahami. Tetapi kalau kita bisa memahami sosmed ada ekosistem seperti kita membuat sistem baru untuk peliharaan kita membuat baru dan baru itu adalah otomatis karena air dari barang dan membuat makan untuk ikan itu kita bisa berarti dengan baru tidak ada dari seluruh kami layak emiten dari seperti ini kita juga bisa membuat komunitas kita sudah tetapi we must understand the unity of the community. Seperti saya katakan, setiap komunitas komponen komunitas mempunyai kearifan dan keterampilan dengan kearifan yang mereka juga mengekspresikan keterampilan karena lokal membuat langsung. Nah, dengan cara ini kita bisa memahami kita memperdayakan. Nah, one thing is very important when we talk about sustainable. We must understand the consumerism dengan ide the agreement or the understanding made in this conference. The concept of this conference is empowering the community to in the long run, the scientists will go ahead and also the benefit even to the economy. And the community again, should not produce any carbon dioxide or anything which will disturb the nature. The sustainable development means we grow inclusively without harming nature. But the main roadblock, the biggest problem sakit dan gini. Now what is this sakit? It is different from what we produce that has not equal to the current market because ketika kita masukkan dengan komunitas waktu itu benar-benar dan dari komunitas ini dimasukkan better with the less price and accept that we can benefit. And if we need that, everything we must be produced and more benefit so that the company usahanya akan mereka dapat 50% benefit supaya harga sahamnya naik. Kalau harga sahamnya turun, nanti perusahaannya tidak kemana. So proses perusahaan itu memberikan keuntungan langsung pada karena we produce more than what we need. If we produce more, kalau kita memproduksi banyak daripada itu berlawan dengan harga. It doesn't go with the same. Right? Who will get it? Now, kalau and I said that Mahatma Gandhi ide-ide Mahatma Gandhi berkata, kita harus mematuhi ide perkembangan karena proses perkembangan pada mencerminkan dan juga kita melakukan kita gunakan sesuatu tetapi kita tidak butuh kita butuh sepasang standar dan sepasang sepatu tetapi ketika kita beli sepasang kita beli lagi setelah satu bulan kita pasar kita beli lagi satu handal dan di rumah kami dua pasang standar dan suara tapi ternyata kita tidak bisa semua. Itulah kita membangun depan pada bumi. Jadi desa Mahatma Gandhi each and every house if they produce certain we do not need all the development processes. Karena bagi melihat mungkin saja kita banyak katakan. Now, what is everybody ignoring the family because kita masuk di dalam perkotaan the concept komunikasi okay. Now how to present local business community to become the but the basic ingredient to protect their protect forest region sungai hilo ada banyak hilang dan banyak particularly this can orang-orang dalam negara ini bisa proyek dengan
Sorry Pak Gautam to interrupt you. You have 1 minute left.
5 minutes. Okay, no problem. This is the way we must preserve land. Like we have something that already lost. The government is pressing upon how to have to land those languages back. Pendidikan dasar dan pendidikan dasar harus dilakukan dalam bangsa daerah. Ya. So this is very important. Then you can also understand what is konsolidasi dan fragmentasi. Ya, kita harus memahami. Dan di sini saya akan memberi contoh mengenai ini. Ada seorang penyanyi he is becoming very famous. I will show you his name. namanya Karangir Singh Kambol. Nanti saya kirimkan linknya. Karangir Singh Kambol adalah seorang yang membuat banyak inovasi untuk memperdayakan komunitas. Seperti katanya Ibu Pina beberapa tahun sebelumnya, beliau membuat atau mendirikan sebuah pabrik untuk memproduksi parfum, dengan beberapa harap dan bunga. Dan beliau sudah membuatkan satu mesin yang bisa memproduksi parfum dan minyak dari bahan-bahan agro, dan juga bisa packing sendiri. Berarti beliau sudah membuat beberapa mesin lain, dan mesin itu bisa melakukan beberapa karya dalam satu mesin, seperti membuat minyak, membuat parfum apa-apa. Dan beliau sudah diberikan beberapa penghargaan dari pemerintah India dan teknologi. Nanti saya akan membagikan sebuah produksinya dengan Ibu Pina, dan dengan bantuan beliau bisa also, karena whenever I see his production or machine, I think it can equally help Indonesian community, because there are a lot of things common between India and Indonesia as a community. And one thing is very important, learning from each other. Kalau kita belajar dan kali, kita bisa berkembang cepat dengan sesuatu. So, dengan kata-kata ini saya ucapkan terima kasih dengan sebuah komunitas konferensi ini, dan thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much to Professor Gautam Kumarja from India, Jawaharlal Nehru University, for your presentation. Professor Gautam emphasized several values from Mahatma Gandhi. It's regarding the basic education should be given to the children, and also how the Mahatma Gandhi also emphasized that the village is the most important point to preserve the nation. And here he also emphasized that language and folklore, region, forests, river, biodiversity, it's the most important thing to preserve as the part of the local wisdom. So now we open for the question and answer session. So any question from the participant, online or offline? Silahkan Bapak Ibu, jikalau ada pertanyaan baik dalam bahasa Indonesia ataupun bahasa Inggris, karena Pak Gautam bisa berbahasa Indonesia juga. Ibu. Silahkan, ada pertanyaan? Oke. Silahkan disebutkan namanya, Bu. One question, Mr. Gautam. Ya, silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Yusri Mafiandari dari Manajemen Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. Terima kasih atas kesempatan yang diberikan. Izin bertanya, karena kita sekarang ini banyak sekali melewati beberapa generasi yang mulai dari generasi kemudian generasi Y, generasi Z, dan mungkin akan ada beberapa generasi selanjutnya. Nah, di antara generasi tersebut itu kan banyak teknologi yang digunakan. Nah, otomatis pengabdian yang dilakukan ini juga harus ada suatu penyesuaian. Nah, apakah ada suatu standarisasi yang dilakukan? Suatu kelompok ini perlu dilakukan adanya suatu pengabdian seperti itu. bicara tentang angka kecukupan gizi, angka literasi, itu masih belum optimal. Nah, mungkin Pak Gautama bisa memberikan, karena melihat di India dengan ada berbagai kekurangan tapi juga memiliki banyak kelebihan. Bagaimana di India itu juga membangun masyarakatnya itu masyarakat yang mereka mau untuk maju, dan ini kita masih belajar. Bisa mungkin diberikan satu arahan atau standarisasi bagaimana untuk membentuk masyarakat yang memang menuju kemajuan. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dengan Ibu Yuli ya?
Yulis,
dengan Ibu Yulis dari manajemen Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. So, Pak Gautam, did you get the question?
No,
May I translate into English? Do you have any standardization how to create a society with the progress spirit? In the context of India and Indonesia, it's maybe similar and also somehow it's different. Ibu Yulis highlight that you people in India has somehow there is a weakness, but somehow you also have a strength, especially the spirit to go on the progress society. So you have any kinds of suggestion regarding the standardization to achieve the progress society?
Yeah. Ini, thank you Ibu Lee. I mean your question is really great. One thing, because saya sering mengunjungi Indonesia dan beberapa provinsi Indonesia seperti Bali, Sumatera, Jawa, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, mana-mana. Dan juga bertemu banyak komunitas di sana, universitas, banyak orang, dan India juga. Nah, Indonesia punya model perkembangannya yang unik itu adalah di Bali. Itu pariwisata Bali adalah salah satu contohnya bagaimana komunitas bisa dimasukkan dalam perkembangan. Dan itu kita bisa memahami seperti ini, ada setiap komponen dari komunitas itu digunakan untuk pariwisata, untuk perusahaan pariwisata di sana. Nah, karena itu pariwisata Bali itu mempunyai sustainabilitas. Dan di India kalau kita lihat perkembangan komunitas di India itu kita gunakan teknologi yang luar biasa. Dan ada banyak teknologi yang diserahkan kepada komunitas dari pemerintah India, itu gunakan untuk memperdayakan komunitas di India, dan mereka dapat bisa sustainability. Dan they can sustain themselves. So itu important sekali. Seperti mesin ini, multi purpose mesin ini yang dibuat oleh seorang petani, dan mesin ini bisa digunakan kalau di desa-desa punya banyak pohon buah-buahan, dan buah-buahan itu tidak bisa membawakan carrying to the town, ya, karena jaraknya luar biasa banyak, karena 2 hari 3 hari this fruits will get damaged. Banyakkan buahan diantarkan ke kota dan banyakkan bisa simpan di sana. Dan dengan mesin ini kita bisa ekstrak sarinya, buah, dan diekstrak the juice. Dan dengan mesin ini ada mesin yang lain bisa packing langsung dan bisa kirimkan ke kotanya. Atau kita tidak bisa packing dengan mesin ini, kita bisa kirimkan buah jusnya, dan we make the kind of cake or dried cake of the fruits. We can dry fruits. So dengan satu multi-purpose processing machine ini, we can do lot of work. Ada explain. And like this, ada banyak orang di India yang memproduksi innovations. So innovations is very important. See, innovation dan teknologi can make the community grow faster. Luar biasa cepat sekali, karena seperti kita memproduksi seperti parfum. ya kita perlu banyak alat-alat dan banyak komunitas untuk very many people. Tetapi dengan bantuan teknologi dan inovasi, satu komunitas bisa kembang dan cepat sekali. So kita perlu to learn from each other. In Indonesia itself can learn from how the Balinese tourism grow with the help of community. So I mean there are so many, not only Bali, other places also. But from learning each other, we can grow faster. And India is doing good, but India is so big. As Agus knows, he has spent so many years in India. So we have to cater. We have to understand all the communities in India. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Please give applause to Pak Gautam. Sedikit menyarikan apa yang beliau sampaikan, berhubung saya juga berstudi di India kurang lebih 8 tahun. Jadi beliau menyampaikan bahwasannya dalam konteks Indonesia, komunitas itu memainkan peran penting ya, khususnya di Bali dalam upaya peningkatan pariwisata gitu ya, dalam pemberdayaan masyarakatnya. Ini menjadi poin penting. Kalau dalam konteks India, India itu banyak sekali di sana para inovator gitu ya, para penemu-penemu seperti alat-alat multipurpose ini. Nah ini kelebihannya adalah ketika pemerintah itu menyebarkan teknologi-teknologi ini kepada masyarakat-masyarakat di perdesaan. India dengan 1,2 miliar penduduknya itu luar biasa PR-nya gitu ya. Tapi tetap ya pemerintah dan juga masyarakat terdidiknya berusaha ya untuk menyebarkan teknologi agar mempercepat gitu ya dari pemberdayaan komunitas di sekitarnya. Baik, terima kasih ya. Thank you very much to the two speaker, ya, Professor Wanju and also Professor Gautam Kumarja for the first session. Please give big applause to all of them. Okay, so the next session will be chaired by Miss Sasha, and I will give back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Baik, terima kasih Pak Agus. Thank you very much, Prof. Gautam and also Professor Wanjuli for the presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, after recharging our knowledge from the first section, I'd like to invite you to move on to another section with the next two speakers. Professor Evgeny Styrin from National Research University, Higher School of Economics, Institute for Public Administration and Governance, Moscow, and also Professor Buk Mojong from Pukyang National University, South Korea. And I would like to invite our beloved moderator in the session, Ms. Shasha Yuania Masudi, MStrat ST. We invite you to lead the stage.
Alright, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yes, my name is Shasha, Bapak Ibu sekalian, and I'm your second moderator for the last two speakers. Well, the first one, we're going to have Professor Evgeny from Russia. And before we listen to his presentation, let me introduce him to you all. His name is Evgeny Mikhailovich Styrin and was born in 1981. Prof. Styrin gained his PhD in Management Sociology from Lomonosov Moscow State University in 2006. His thesis entitled A Government Strategies of Formation and Development. And currently, Professor Styrin works as a leading researcher at National Research University Higher School of Economics, Institute for Public Administration and Governance. And his area of research interests are electronic government, digital economy, digital technologies adaptation in public administration, digital platform, digital public services, and artificial intelligence strategy for public administration. As a leading researcher, he actively publishes many journals. And for further information about his publication, you can check his Google Scholar. But unfortunately, it's all in Russia. Yes, in Russian. So you may ask him later if you are interested in his area of interest. Well, that's all. Brief of Professor Stierin's profile. Now let's listen to his presentation. Please, Professor Stierin, the floor is yours, but kindly reminding that you have only 20 minutes.
Morning and good day, everyone, and thank you for having me with you. I'm very honored to the organizers to invite me to this conference, and I will be happy to present some of the results that we have here coming from our Russian experience. Just very short comment and remark to what Sasha said. I do have publications in English, and it's possible to find them actually, probably in some scientific databases. It's possible. Anyway, as I said, it's a very interesting and actual topic that is being discussed on the conference, and every country, including Russia, is doing a lot of effort to have what we can call in general a better government or more sustainable government. And I want to talk with you about the problems that arise in this direction coming from Russian experience. My topic, I will talk about more transparent and sustainable governance in the area of electronic procurement and developing procurement systems. And you will see that the reasons the government did these systems were one way, were one logic, but now it's very important to develop the whole process in actually quite different direction, which is not very easy. But let me start. As you can see, the level of maturity for digital services and for digital technologies is growing from day to day. And governments are thinking not only about bringing new policies, working with data, but bringing very ambitious projects where it's important to not just to build a big information system, but also make some ecosystem approach where many different stakeholders would be involved. But in order to provide quite fair approach and make clear ecosystems, it's important to involve citizens. It's important to provide all the needed information, and it's about the reduction of problems with information and technologies. What we can see about the theoretical approach to the problem, when you involve, of course, when you build ambitious projects, and you should know that, for example, digital procurement system in Russia is global. It's global and centralized. It works. This is a huge information systems which involves applications from all levels of government, starting from municipal, regional, and federal level. So it's electronic in the sense that it keeps the trace and keeps information about all the procurements that are being done by public authorities and also organizations where there is a governmental participation. So when you see the whole cycle of technologies, you see that it's very complicated. It needs to change not only the technology itself, but also people behavior, people's skills to use these technologies. And this poses some very unexpected difficulties that all participants in the system experience. We made some literature review about the platforms, and I would say that the huge importance when you develop technology from government to citizens to businesses, and when you want everybody to use it in order to make it more transparent, more sustainable, it comes to your mind that the most important thing you have to pay attention to is about human factor. It's about human behavior, and also how users, how citizens accept the technologies. When we read the academic literature about this, it's about bringing digital trust in front. People are afraid of such issues as the privacy, security of data, as the way to make the whole process of procurement and any other process which involves technology, make it more transparent, legal, and not contradicting to the rules that government regulators provide. The very good approach to think about, I believe it comes, of course, it comes probably first of all from business, from big companies, but governments try, in our opinion, coming from experience in governance in Russia, the government adopted from business and also try to make to make an ecosystem around huge core digital solutions. If you imagine the procurement process, you can look at it as the very big and complicated process, which consists of several components. It's an application of the bid. It's making the decision whose bid is the best, and it's also tracing the results of this procurement. All these stages, they happen with the participation of those who place the bids, of those who implement the bids, and those who regulate and control the way the bids are going. The key idea is to have a transparent way of doing procurement process, to decrease corruption, to decrease the level of expenses the government have when they produce procurement. But what's in, as I come back to the literature, it's about when you seek the innovative solution supported by technologies, it's how would you involve the communities, all the different communities. It's not only about the people itself, the citizens, but it's also about the regional authorities, municipal authorities, and you also should know that, for example, Russia is a very big country, is the biggest territory, is a very diverse, with a different level of development of technologies on different levels. It means that people use and apply technologies not in an equal way. There is a divide, there is a digital divide in how people use and apply technologies. But in the same time, the whole procurement system has to work smooth, has to provide equal functionality to all its participants, which is really a huge challenge, which is really very difficult to achieve. But we believe that ecosystem approach, which we provide here in this presentation, is really a good way to have this solution. The very important thing is to provide coordination. We found out that it's not enough to bring standards. It's not enough to have just the technology, but it's very important to provide not only formal instructions to the different level users how they should use procurement system, but it's also about communication and instant support. It turns out for government authorities who are responsible for the whole system, it's much easier to make formal rules, to give them standards, give them to the users and say, please follow the rules. But it seems not enough. People have different perceptions of these technologies. They have different level of complexity of these technologies. So what is really a challenge for government authorities here is to become really service-oriented. Is not to just have one-way communication when you bring the rules and say, please join the system. Everything is clear. Everything is like formalized. doesn't work. We see that it doesn't work. We see that different authorities on different levels of governance, they meet some problems. How would you describe the whole application? How would you download necessary documents? How would you produce and trace the results? How would you find necessary documents, necessary prices, and so on, and such a huge amount of data repository which exists in the system? So what was the real challenge and the real problem for government is to understand the problems and challenges that different stakeholders have. But as I said, what is really a challenge in general is in thinking, is how government managers think. They don't think of this project as an ecosystem. They don't think of it as a stakeholder approach. For them, it's more like a waterfall system of information system development. Is doing it like step by step, saying we produce the solution, it has to be clear to all its users. It doesn't happen. So what we did in our research, we started it from 2018 and we continued 2023. We also wanted to talk with different stakeholder groups. So we produced some sociological reviews, we produced some workshops and different types of qualitative analysis of the official documents and policies that exist around procurement. We also, one of our participants became a person who was physically involved. He was observing and using the whole system, you know, like trying to check how it works, how it doesn't work. So you could see that we had qualitative, exploratory and explanatory approaches to data analysis. And we try to understand from different ways how the procurement system works. So we made different interviews, we provided workshops, and we collected information. What are the problems? What are the challenges that that stand in front of the people using procurement system from different sides? So as you could see, as I said, that for now, Russian procurement system, which is called in Russian Goszakupki RU, is a huge informational platform and joint information system for document storage. So as from this, you can understand it's owned by Russian Federal Treasury and is operated by a big Russian IT company, which is called Rostec. It means, actually, from our research, because I don't have much time, I will just give you a very brief understanding that this is a huge information system with the control and transparency functions, for functions that can record what happens in procurement. But we believe, as our research team, after talking with experts, talking with users, making observations, we believe that it has a really huge chance to become more like an ecosystem. It can really have a chance to provide more information to the users and make them better collaborate with government, to produce less mistakes, to have more clear understanding and better usage of what exists in this system. The key problems that you can see here is that we don't have completely machine-readable data. Much of the data is being stored in PDF formats like pictures, and it's not machine readable. People do a lot of technical mistakes. People do mistakes, and for the system, it's a huge challenge to verify these mistakes, to keep really up to date and verify the data. To do so, you again need to talk with the users. You need again to talk and coordinate your work with the stakeholders, to explain them all the time, not to make these mistakes when you fill in the system. Of course, the system is distributed and it has many subsystems on the regional levels and municipal levels. But the key function was, as I said, to store the records. We don't have dynamic classifiers for different types of procurements in the system. You need to have a classifier. It's not dynamic, it's static. But the life is difficult, you know, you have different programs, you have to procure some new things. You need to make different classifiers. Those huge and best trading platforms like Alibaba, and so on, they have dynamic classifiers. With this government platform, it's not yet there. It has to be done in order to make it really high quality, high functionality. And of course, as I said, we have regional segments of this platform. We have seven trading points inside the system. They are not well integrated. You can see that we have a huge amount of customers, suppliers, and you see that annually the system provides 143 billion United States dollars transactions. So one of the most frequent things which has been procured is medical services and medical goods. But as we said, because the federal segment of the system is not perfectly well developed and can correspond to all the needs of the regions. Regions developed, and we have 85 regions now in Russia, 85 regional governments. So it means that they produced their own procurement platforms that now have to be integrated and have to have ways of exchanging data with the federal system, which poses huge challenges to the whole construction. As you can see, that as what we state in our research, that the stakeholders' voice is not often heard well. For government, the most important thing is to control, in this case. But we believe that the best option would be to collaborate. The best option to develop the new functionality is to collaborate and use the resources of the regions and best ideas, and from the users. Because what they wait stronger integration, better search, better information search and acquisition, better integration, and better functionality. In order to make this functionality not only comfortable for government, but also for its users, you need to listen to the users. You need to talk more with the different stakeholders. And it turns out that there is not such a lot of resource to do so. There is enough resource to produce instructions, to produce functionality, to make automation, but there is lack resource in government managers to better talk with different stakeholder groups. Here, because I'm really short on time, what we did in this table, I will not be talking maybe in all the details. Maybe you can read or then you can have the presentation and look at it. But you could see that different groups, we have different types of stakeholders, not less than 8 or 9 groups, and it's still a huge level. We believe this decomposition has to go even stronger and in more details. But you see that they have different interests, and interests are very different. They come out from the position in which the stakeholders exist. The government agencies want to have a quality technical support, and they want to have more training for their personnel, and they have to comply with legal requirements. Suppliers of goods, they want better sales channels. They want more integration and development with the municipal customers. They want to work with data. They need to have better tools working with data. State regulator want to access better, again, working with data, wants to have more transparency and better understanding how it's been done. We have supervisory authorities, which also has to be quite active and strong in making necessary restrictions. You know, we might have blacklists in the procurement system. We have to eliminate those who violate the rules, who don't follow the instructions. We have the operator of the platforms. We have bodies of legal support, and they have to comply with rules. We also have different specialized organizations which provide accreditations for working with the platforms. So you see that, as I said, which is very specific for Russian environment, that unlike other countries in Russia, e-procurement system is completely centralized. You know, it's one system actually. Of course, it's distributed, but it is spread all over the country, which is not quite obvious maybe in many other countries where the procurement exists on regional level, municipal level. In our case, the government integrates the whole procurements in the country. The problem, as I said, the problem is to follow the interests of all stakeholders. And also there is a huge problem which we can call something of like data governance, working with huge amounts of data which exist. As you see, we have some more and more groups of statistical organizations, financing organizations, which also participate and want to stimulate the procurement process. They all have very different interests, but it's very important to map the whole picture. We believe we are the only team now which did this job. We present it to government authorities, but as they say, for them, it's very difficult to make such agreements, because it's also about leadership. It's more about informal connections. It's not just technology. Technology is not that bad in this project. It's really not that bad, though there are some technological problems. But it's about the whole management thing. So maybe to conclude, because my time elapses very fast, we want to say that there is a huge role of state regulator, the one who regulates the whole rules on the platform. And the state regulator was also the founder of the platform. And it has to change. It has to change the focus. It has to change the focus from just the control and reporting about the procurement, to involvement, to talking with communities, because procurement process as itself is the key process for government. And you know that government is very often the one which is the key sponsor of different products, bids. You know, it's the biggest procurement body, the government body. So it's very important to make it more clear, more understandable, because this supports and stimulates business in the country. So we believe that to solve some anti-corruption problems is to better understand the problems of stakeholders and to create a better support and feedback mechanism. So to summarize and maybe to finish, to have this last slide, is that it's very important to feel and understand the changing values and interests of stakeholders. It's very important to change this historical pathway from one of command and control to one that involves and collaborates with its users and uses best ideas and develops innovations, you know, in some collaborative and discussion manner. Because you know that this system, it has to be in the evolution process. And we believe that the ecosystem approach is one which is evolutionary. As I said, the customers are not treated as stakeholders, but more as objects of control. And it's also the very old problem, which I study for many years and which exists in any government developing the technologies, is the problem of integration. Each regional authority has its own rules, has its own ways of action and interests, but when we talk about the whole system on the federal level, it's more like about making this process more integrative in data, in systems, in functionality. And it's very hard, it's a huge idea to somehow shape, control the development of these tools. And of course, it would be perfect if the system could be proactive, could give a feedback, could provide some tools that would make the whole procurement process on different stages much more easier. I thank you for attention and ready to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you very much again.
It is really related to Indonesia because transparency, especially in public procurement, is still a problem here. The Q&A in this session will be at the end. So we will Okay.
Can I interrupt a little bit here? I mean, because I don't have time. So if we can move the Q&A at the beginning, I do have a question. But if it's really, because, the first session, the Q&A is at the end of the presentation. So I thought that I could wait until the end of presentation to ask a question. But if you do change the rules, then I might have to leave the meeting.
Okay, so we will do the Q&A now. Or Pak Joko, do you have any question for Professor Stirin?
Yeah, I do have a question for Arjun. Arjun is really interesting seeing your research and the result of your research. One of the things that I notice is that the different stakeholders have different interests and issues in using the application, the platform itself. And all of the stakeholders are institutional stakeholders. To what extent, or maybe I should reframe it in a different way. How do you think the impact of the organizational culture for each stakeholder affect how they perceive the use of the platform? Because, I'm assuming they have different issues, and those different issues somehow relate with how they conduct the business in their own organization, and that's affect how they use the data, how they use the platform.
Thank you, Joko. Thank you very much. That's a great question. Let me even try to answer it by giving example in our case. Like, I work in the university, Higher School of Economics is National Research University. It also has to go on procurement platform and make its bids, make it some of the orders, making them through the platform, through this official process, because it depends on what sum of money you want to spend on procuring something. And of course, you're right. When my university comes to the platform, they have quite developed IT processes inside. So they bring these ideas and say, why does this platform work like this and doesn't work like this? It comes from what they have inside. Or for example, if you take the huge banks, huge IT companies, which with the public participation in them, they also have very well developed technologies inside, like artificial intelligence things or very strong data processing blocks. They come and say, look, why this procurement system is not doing this or not doing that? We got used inside our organization. We do have this nice integration. We don't waste our time. Things go very fast and smooth. So yes, but it means like the whole country goes on procurement platform and really puts some orders and things like this. And of course, they come with their own culture, with what they shape. So my idea in this project is very simple, actually, but it's not being done, is to provide the Federal Treasury, which is the owner of the platform. It does have to make a series of seminars like what we did, but we are researchers and they are the owners of the platform. And I need to talk with these different stakeholders, with the top companies and say, look, what experience you have, how you work with the data, how you can keep this data in machine readable form. You have platforms, for example, the companies or some regions. We have one regions which are very much more developed than the others. We have some regions like Moscow or Tatarstan Republic, which are already very strong. They have their own platforms very strong. The question is how to scale this experience on the whole country, how to move these ideas on the higher level. And it seems that it's not, the problem is really very deep. It's really not that simple as you could see. It's not easy to take this technology from one player, and make it scale on the side of the whole country. But that's in discussion. It's still possible. What is being done actually? What is being done in several areas? I know it's being done, for example, in data governance. It's when the government sits together with the big companies, with the associations, and they talk. How to make the standards of working with data? What is good? What is wrong in this? What tools can be made public? If you want to use wide artificial intelligence, please give the whole industry, give the whole companies these tools, make them use it. make this discussion. The same happens in procurement process. And I believe, and what's going to happen is that what you say, I think that the question is actually who is more influential, who comes closer to government in talking with them about what tools to use. For now, the Federal Treasury is at a certain border when the level of functionality of e-procurement system is not that bad, but it's more technological, it's more automated. Now the society asks, look, why not to use artificial intelligence tools? Why not to use high-level data governance tools in searching the information, in choosing the best bids and things like this? Everybody says, yeah, it would be nice, but how would you do it? And how would you do it symmetrical rather than asymmetrical? Because for the government, it's very important that this wide amount of regional authorities, wide amount of different subsystems would be used equally. You know, it's very difficult when you have like, if you can compare, and now you come to some other things not related directly to procurement at all. You say, let's measure the level of digital skills you have in Moscow, in Tatarstan, in some other regions, and you suddenly find out that there is a few people in some regions which know what to do with this, and a lot of people in some other region. And you immediately stop, and you see that when you make this reform and you bring this innovation, in one region it goes very smooth and fast, and some other places people just don't understand what you provide or how to use these tools. So it's gonna be a long process, but this is what happens. This culture of different organizations, this culture lets them formulate new questions to the system. It comes from the culture. It comes from the habits. They do IT habits. I would say IT habits they have in their companies. They say, look, we do it in our company this way. Why don't we do the same thing in procurement? It's achievable, right? It's achievable. Of course, when you bring it one level more, one level high to the government, you find out that the government will say, look, we have resources for keeping the system working, for supporting the system. But who told you that we do have resources to bring this innovation to life? We don't have extra budgets. You know, it's a very typical question in government when they say, look, we need some more budget for this and things like this. So it goes slow, but we believe in our research that this conversation has to go, and maybe not completely, but some parts of it will be taken. And we want to draw attention of government managers to the possible ways of, developing the functionality of the system.
Got it. So one quick follow-up question, really quick. Do you categorize all of this challenge into larger category affecting all of the stakeholders in using the platform? And have you published that?
If I get your question right, yes, this is a little bit side work, because we were focusing more on formulating in clear way, in direct way, the problems that stakeholders have. But of course, it's possible. We had this exercise during the workshops when you can take any technology like blockchain, big data, artificial intelligence, and try to formulate the problems which can be solved with this technology. This is being done.
In my current research, I'm interested in understanding how people are using platform and what kind of factor are actually affecting people in using platform or any apps or mobile apps whatsoever. So I think one of your results is somehow really clicked with my intending research in understanding the use of data. So if you don't mind, I would like to use your presentation as one of my reference. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Professor Styrian, for the answer. So we're going to listen to the next presentation, the last one, from Professor Chung Bupmo. Bupmo Chung. Yes. Okay. Before we listen to his presentation, let me introduce him first. His name is Mo Chung, and he was born in 1973. He got his bachelor's and master's degree from Seoul National University and a PhD in anthropology from University of the Philippines. And now he's an associate professor from Pukyong National University. So, Professor Chung, the floor is yours. Your time is 20 minutes.
Okay. Good morning. Yeah, it's a really great honor for me to have a chance to present here. My name is Mo Jung from Pukyong National University in South Korea. Actually, today the topic I'm going to talk about is a little bit not yet analyzed. This is just to share my experience to be involved in some kind of development project in the community. So actually, right now I'm in Thailand, and for my research year, I am doing some research on two topics, and the one is some topic that I'm talk about. It's a little bit the community the education program for migrant youth, and then second one is the community development work in the rural area in northern Thai, and then to be specialized in the environment friendly farming system to replace some slash and burning system of the mountainous area. Anyway, today I will be more focused on the first one, some kind of education program for the migrant youth. And then when I talk about the migrant youth, is that they are refugee. But when we define the refugee, the concept should be the fit into some kind of the official conditions. But the migrant youth means like there are many people who across the border without any proper legal procedure, and then basically they are stateless people, and then after like 30, 40 years of this kind of crossing the border, the many youth were grown in this border area. And then so what kind of program should be provided for this young generation? This is the one of our concern. And then the other aspect is that we are doing this program as a part of the international development cooperation. And then this is funded by the can you hear me now? Oh, okay. So so the so and then what kind of some program does university do for this kind of international development cooperation? Normally, like some NGO or international organization, maybe they are better to provide this kind of program. And then what is the role of some university? That's our concern at the beginning. And then, so finally we have a consortium with the NGO, international NGO, to support the refugee student for a long time. And then basically we are giving some online some program for these students. So basically, the reason why we do the education program is that most of the program for like a refugee or migrant are much more focused on the very short-term based project. But we thought this is not so sustainable in the long run. So we want to give some chance for them to get a job opportunity in Thai area. So this is the beginning why we started this program. So I want to share this program with you. So some national identity and the future of the migrant youth in Thai border. So this is the area, like this is method, and then this is the border area between the right side is Thai and the left side is the Myanmar. And when you think about the border area, I think the Southeast Asian people are much more aware of this kind of this kind of notion of some border, because some for other people or Western people, they said this is very definite concept of the border area, but sometimes the border areas is very, very vague and then very not clear. And then every day the people are come and go, and then they go across the border. Of course, there are some risk, and then sometimes they can risk their life for their crossing the border. But basically for a long time, people come and go into this area. And then some people can go to the refugee camp itself if they are they are categorized as some refugee. But some people voluntarily they chose to be some just like migrants, and then they just stay in this border area. But of course, because they don't have any idea of the Thai country, they have a very limit of some mobility or job opportunity or like any education opportunity or health system and so on. So and in this area, interestingly, there are some like they call migrant school. I think Thai government prefer this like a migrant instead of refugee. So there are a lot of the migrant school from kindergarten to high school level, and then maybe their age is like 3 to 18 years old. And then normally the English and the Burmese are the main medium of instruction. And in certain school, because normally this is the area of these current people for a long time, the current language also used in the classroom. So most of migrant school, they follow the Myanmar education program from kindergarten to grade 8. But from grade 8 level, many schools provide the GED preparation course in order for the student to be qualified to apply for tertiary level or university level of the educational system. They call post 10 level, maybe after grade 8, they should prepare either for job application or for entering university. But problem is the educational level, and because their education in the migrant school is not officially recognized by the government, so they cannot apply. So instead of getting some educational the level test, the school provide the GED. This is the American education some level test system. So if they pass this GED, they can apply for the Thai university and then university in other country other than Myanmar or Thai. And so GED test is to provide a certain student to have a high school level of education. So through this test, the student can apply for university in Thailand and the third country. But of course, as you expect, the very few migrants can afford to pass this exam because of their English and then their educational some background. And then the tuition fee normally in the migrant school are like a 300 baht or 2,000 baht, but it does not seem does not sound look very expensive. But for migrant people, of course, this is some big amount. And then the problem is that the money for managing this school. So because the Thai government doesn't support the financially, so this migrant school should depend on some donation from other people. So there are like 65 migrant schools. So all in all, like tens of thousands of people are around the border area between Myanmar and Thai. So in some big school, there are like 2,000 students. That's very huge number of people are staying here. But as I said before, the problem is that after graduating the school, so it's not easy for them to enter the university in Thai or other country, and then it's not easy for them to apply for the job. So this is the main problem. So and then after the military coup in 2021, there have much more students coming to border area. Like for example, Tumeki School, one school established in 2002. This year, when I met with some teacher there, he said more and more students are coming. And then there are very few teachers, and then few classrooms, and then it's a lack of some dormitory capacity. So this is a big problem for them. And in this area, 1990s, the migrant school started to operate in this area by Korean organization. And the Thai government from 2005, this is a little bit interesting. And Thai government, they don't officially accredit this school system, but they allow the operation. And they put some special agency like MECC to monitor and manage this school. And then gradually the temporary school have been replaced by the permanent type of building. If you are familiar with some like the refugee sector of the international development work, normally the permanent building is not allowed. Actually, well, all of the buildings should be like a temporary base. But anyway, when Thai government allowed this operation. Anyway, now the building of the school are built in cement or in permanent tile. So, but due to the several constraints or regulations, there are many some uncertain aspect that after graduating this school, and even children of undocumented migrants, they can go to school, but they have to start the kindergarten level regardless of their age. So there is an advantage or disadvantage when they choose to stay outside the camp or inside the camp. So and then they can go to this migrant school, But the problem is that anyway, they start from the zero level of the school. And for those students, when there's some good mood in Myanmar society, during the time of the Wu Teng-Shein, the president, they allowed these students to be registered in the Myanmar University. So even after graduating this school, they don't have a problem to continue their study in Myanmar. But after the military coup in 2021, this became also difficult. So it's hard for them to return, and then fewer and fewer people want to return to Myanmar. So it means many students want to find a job in Thai area. But there are two problems. The one is their language. They cannot, most of them cannot speak Thai. And then also other problem is that their legal status. So because they don't have the visa or that ID of the Thai government. So if they want to get a job, they need at least the 10-year card. They call 10-year, like some kind of visa given to the migrant people. So does anyway, yeah, due to the difficulty of getting qualified for the university high school level of education. So the entering Thai university or entering university in other country are very difficult. And then especially after political crisis in Myanmar, also many teachers they crossed the border and then they became the teacher of this migrant school. But because of some financial problem, sometimes they work in restaurant and sometimes they work in construction sector. So nowadays a little bit the atmosphere is changed. So the many CDM, like country disobedience movement, somebody who are involved in this movement, much more and more people are coming. So this is the border area is much more politicized than before. But anyway, for the youth people, so even Thai government, they also admit that they should provide some education program. But the problem is normally their Thai class is very limited, and then the student, because they don't have a proper visa, they cannot how can you say, they cannot make a concrete plan for their future after graduation. So I think this is the bigger problem. So that became the background that we have to give the education program. So okay, I will. So right now around more than 10,000 students and adolescents are around the border area between Myanmar and Thai. And then normally when I had the baseline survey, normally many of them are born in Myanmar, but when they were very young, they crossed the border even without their families, their parents, and then if we see that some like an ID card, still they have like a Myanmar ID, and I said the 10-year card is necessary for them to apply for a job, but only 10%. So this is the very like a marginalized situation for them. And this area, most of them are Karen, and they speak Karen language, and then also in terms of their ethnic group, they are Karen, and then they are staying in the dormitory, and, because they don't have any freedom of mobility. So normally, some of them, they have stayed in the migrant school for long years, but it does not mean that they are ready for getting a job in the Thai area. And then also their income level is very low. So normally they have a very few hours, like 2 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours a week, 2 hours a day, and then 2 times a week is very limited. So, and then their Thai language skills are very poor. That's why we decide to provide the Thai language education. At the same time, in our university, through the online, we provide the international development education, international development studies. We provide some series of lectures on what are some international issues. The reason why we give this program is that many of them also want to work in this civil sector, and then they want to have some other refugee or other peace involved the project. So I think this will be some basic. Of course, we can start some giving some job training or creating business, but we think this will be some long-term goal. So right now we need some basic capacity to understand some international society, and then also they should be prepared for the communication in Thai area. So, okay, the language education is also important for their identity, other than also emotional belonging to certain countries. So for the identity issues, also the language or education for this kind of migrant youth are very important. I think in the long run, we want to provide some other kind of awareness education for as a global citizen or some kind of I hope them to understand their role as some international player. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you so much, Professor Chung. So this is interesting. He talked about national identity and the future for the migrant youth in Thailand and Myanmar border. Before I ask him my question, is there any question from the participant? Online or the offline one? Ada pertanyaan Bapak Ibu? Tidak ada? Okay, if there's no question, then it will be my question. So, Professor Chung, from the first time I heard your presentation about the migrant youth, I was wondering why this migrant in Thailand and Myanmar border. Why don't you choose another, the dispute area? Like we have in Indonesia here, maybe not the exact same problem with what you have said, but we kind of have some kind problem in our border in Borneo with Malaysia, and why there? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the interesting question. Of course, there are many like a neighboring border, even between the Myanmar and Thai. And actually, one time I had an experience to go to some other refugee area in Bangladesh, because this is the area for the refugee from Rohingya people in Myanmar. And then, other than that, there are a lot of the area of this border area. But the reason why we chose this area is that it's quite a long history in current area. Maybe if you understand some like history between like Myanmar and other countries during the colonial time, and then Karen is a little bit. They also it's a little bit culturally different, and then also many of them actually were the Christianized earlier than other area, and then most of the people in Myanmar are Buddhists. So they are very active in the demanding their independence, even after the nation building of Myanmar after the Second World War. So for a long time, this area was helped by the international community, and then because of the 30 or 40 years, also there are some young people or migrant youth. So this time the university people like us, maybe we can be much more relate with these young people. And then what university can do is to provide an education program. I think. Of course, there are many, but this could be the one good space where we can start this kind of international development program for the youth people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So that's all for all the all the speakers. So we have done with the presentation session as well as the question and answer session. So thank you so much, especially to Professor Stirin and Professor Chung. That's all for me. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Ibu Shasha, for leading the stage. Thank you, Professor Evgeny and also Professor Pup Mochong for the presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, the speakers are already done with their awesome learning materials, and so do the agenda. And I would like to say thank you very much for your coming and participation. Before the lunch time, I would like to invite Professor Irfan and also Prof. Latipun, and also all of the participants here to stand up. We will take a group photo together. Bapak dan Ibu, teman-teman, silakan bisa maju ke depan dulu, kita foto bersama. Kami mengundang Prof. Irfan dan Prof. Latipun untuk berfoto bersama di depan bersama dengan seluruh peserta yang ada di Race Hotel kali ini. Okay, and for all the participants in Zoom meeting, we invite you to keep turning on your camera because we have a group photo together, both online and on site. So once again, all of the participants in Zoom meeting, We invite you to keep turning on your camera because we have a group photo together, both in online and on-site. Silakan Bapak dan Ibu, teman-teman peserta lainnya boleh bergeser, maju ke depan, kita foto bersama. Boleh naik ke atas panggung untuk yang lainnya ya, biar rata. Silakan Bapak Ibu bisa bergeser ke atas. Boleh di atas, boleh di depan. Oke, are you ready? Silakan kita akan berfoto dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Senyumnya boleh lebih lebar, 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi, 3, 2, 1. Terima kasih Bapak dan Ibu. Kami persilakan untuk dapat menikmati makan siangnya. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your lunch and break time. And to all the participants, we remind you to go back to the room at 13.15. 1:15 PM, pukul 13.15, silakan Bapak Ibu dapat kembali lagi ke sini. Kita akan bersama-sama melanjutkan to the panel session presentation. Terima kasih banyak. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu, monggo untuk makan siang sekaligus tas dan barang-barangnya bisa dibawa. Jadi nanti langsung bergeser di ruang panel yang ada di lantai 1. Untuk makan siangnya Bapak dan Ibu ada di Legacy, jadi di dekat meeting room yang nanti digunakan untuk panel. Jadi silakan Bapak dan Ibu bisa makan siang sambil membawa seluruh barang-barangnya agar nanti memudahkan akses untuk ke meeting room atau di ruang panel. Terima kasih Bapak dan Ibu. Untuk sholat juga sholat ada di bawah ya. Terima kasih banyak. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.